Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you happen to see either of the two videos that I've already posted on this channel so far. Today I'm going to be filming a book haul. This is my first book haul. These are some books that I got in the month of December and also early January. I'm lucky enough to work in a preschool. My parents know me very well, so they give me gift certificates to places, and Barnes& and Noble is one of the gift cards that I got this year, so I've been able to buy a few books for Christmas. So it's been kind of nice this year to be able to pick up a few extra books to read. And because I'm in a cemetery, I thought I would start with my horror books first. One of the authors that I have fallen in love with over the past few months is Riley Sager. I happen to love a few of his books, and a few of his books have not been as good as the others, but I don't think I've ever truly been disappointed in one of his books. Most of them have been pretty easy reads for me. So two books that I have picked up are Final Girls and Home Before Dark. I'm not going to go over a synopsis of any of these books in this video. I may give just a little summary, a couple of sentences. If you see any of the books that you want to read or that look interesting by their cover, I'm going to leave that up to you to research them on your own. But I do kind of want to go into most of these books knowing as little as possible about them, just because I enjoy being a little bit surprised about what I'm reading and like to kind of form my own decisions. So we'll probably move through this pretty quickly. I'm a big fan also of historical fiction. I generally like to read about World War II, but I have a couple of historical fiction books that I picked up that have nothing to do with World War II. The first book that I have picked up is Orphan Train. All I really know about this book is that orphan trains ran pretty regularly between 1854 and 1929, and this book is about whether some of these kids were able to find their forever homes and have a lucky future or not. Particularly Vivian Daly. She was a young Irish immigrant, so I think it follows her more than it does anyone else. I'm interested to see if this book lives up to its hype. It's been on my TBR for quite a while, and it's my goal for this year is to knock off as much of my TBR as possible. So I was able to pick this one up and hope to get to it pretty soon. Another book that I've picked up is Hamnet. If you don't know anything about Louisville, we have the longest running Shakespeare Festival, free Shakespeare Festival, at least in the United States. It might be in North America as well. And I enjoy going to see the plays every year. They are quite hysterical. I never really knew Shakespeare had a sense of humor until I became an adult. But I really enjoy going to see the plays. And I do know the story is about Shakespeare and his wife and how they lost their child. So I'm curious to see a little bit about their story. I don't know much about Shakespeare personally. I just know more about the plays that he wrote. Now, one of the other authors that I really enjoy reading that I've discovered over the past year is Colleen Hoover. Earlier this year, I read It Ends With Us, and so I picked up It Starts With Us. And I'm really excited to read this book. It comes acclaimed, and I'm hoping once again that it lives up to its hype. A couple of years ago, a friend introduced me to Leanne Moriarty, and I've had a couple of books that I've read of hers with sort of mixed reaction. A couple of her books I've loved very well, and then there's been a couple that have not been what I thought that they should be. So I'm going to tackle Truly, Madly Guilty this year. I don't know how much of a thriller this is, or I don't know that she necessarily writes thrillers, but I do know that in her book, there's something that goes terribly wrong, and this is a story. Domestic fiction is what it's called, and I know domestic fiction has to do with sort of mid-century women's power kind of things. So I'm just curious to see what this book is about. I don't really know anything about it at all. So it's going to be interesting to read, and I hope, and figure out whether I like it or not. I have one last book to show us while we're here at the cemetery, and it is The Last True Poets of the Sea. I don't know anything about this book at all, except I know that it does come highly recommended by some booktubers whose videos I watch on a regular basis. So, I absolutely think that the cover is gorgeous as well. So, not that that tells anything about whether a book is going to be good or not, but if it's nice to look at, that's a bonus. So, I will be back a little bit later to tell you about the rest of the books that I've picked up. And I'm going to give you a little moment with my cat, Hugo. I just realized that I forgot to mention that the grave sites that I showed were of Colonel Harlan Sanders of KFC fame and of Muhammad Ali, who of course needs no introduction. I swear I exist for his pleasure and his pleasure only. I'm back and I'm filming from a place in New Albany, Indiana, which is just across the river from Louisville. It's a place called Culbertson Mansion. This is a building that has quite a fantastical, thrilling, and mysterious past. There are rumors of hauntings in this building, and it's quite a beautiful location, but quite haunting. I've been inside and done a couple of tours, and this place kind of draws me back just because of the sheer beauty of it, and I'm always drawn to a good mystery. So I figured this was a good place to film the segment of my book haul based on mysteries, thrillers, and fantasies. The first couple of books I have are from the Disney Twisted Tales collection, and these stories are based on the question of what if things had gone a little bit differently in the Disney stories that they represent. So the first book that I have is A Whole New World. The question it poses is, what if Aladdin never had found the lamp? I also picked up a second book in that series, and it's Once Upon a Dream. And the question it poses is, what if Sleeping Beauty never woke up? I'm kind of excited to see if these twisted tales live up to the hype that I have put on them personally, just as a Disney fan. A couple of the next books I have are also part of a series. I have started the Shauna McGuire's Wayward Children series, and I've picked up book number 2, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, and book number 3, Beneath the Sugar Sky. I really enjoyed book number 1 in these series, and I don't anticipate me having issues with any of the further books in this series, just because I've heard such good things. I picked up this month's Book of the Month selection, which is Hellbent by Lee Bardugo. I will not be reading this yet just because I have not read Ninth House yet. I'm waiting on that to arrive. I've recently ordered that. The next book I picked up is The Book of Night by Holly Black. I'm really intrigued by this book. I've heard sort of mixed feelings about it, and I'm curious to see how I'm going to feel. It's basically a story about a girl, Charlie Hall, who has made some really bad mistakes in her past and is kind of looking to separate herself from those. But she's having a really hard time because there are people from her past who really want things from her, and she's a survivalist. So she really needs to kind of figure out how she's going to be able to get away from the people from her past, but also survive for the future. And there's another book that I picked up that I've been really intrigued by. It's Children of Blood and Bone. This book is a chunker, but I have been really interested to see what it's about. I basically know that I've also picked up two other books that I've been really interested in. One is The Book of Night by Holly Black. I think this book has an absolutely gorgeous cover, and I've heard mixed feelings about the book, so I'm curious to see if it's going to be something that I enjoy or not. Another fantasy that I've been wanting to read is Children of Blood and Bone. Once again, it's not a book that I know a whole lot about, but I'm curious to see if it's going to be any good. I have a few mysteries and thrillers here that I'm going to be reading, or hopefully reading over the next year. One is The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. I hope I'm saying that right. I know this is on my 23 to read in 23 list, so I'm hoping to get around to that very soon. The next book, All the Dangerous Things. This is one of the new releases that I've really been looking forward to getting around to reading, so I'm anxious to see if it's any good. Couple more books that I've picked up. One is Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I read a book of cold cases and really enjoyed it. And I got introduced to her by a coworker, so we'll see if I continue to enjoy her works. And the last book I've picked up was one that I've just recently heard of. It's called The Violin Conspiracy. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I saw a booktuber who had read it, and she really seemed to enjoy it. So I think that it could be a good read for this year. I hope you've enjoyed my book haul. I hope you'll like and subscribe, like my video and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to talking to you all again. See you on the next adventure.